Halfway there. One moment, please. We appear to have people that have come in on YouTube, oh God, where's it gone? Okay, one moment. Let me just see who's coming in on. So we have Mr. Allard and Ms. Dawn Old joining us tonight. We're now live on YouTube. So good evening and welcome to Wincanton Town Council meeting being held on Zoom and live streamed on YouTube. Tonight is the 12th of October at 7 p.m. 7:01, I beg your pardon. And before I move into the agenda, I just wish to note we have two members of the public joining us tonight, Mr. Ellard and Ms. Old, and we also have one of our district councillors joining us as well, so welcome. Before I move into public participation, I just would like to confirm with council, you've received the agenda and papers tonight, so can you acknowledge that to be the case by raising your hand? And I have Ian's, I presume, is raising his hand. I wish in a minute, Ian, if you could confirm, because your iPad currently doesn't have video.
Beg your pardon, hold on.
Okay, you've got two. Okay, you've gone again. Okay, so currently on the call we have Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Power, Councillor Smith, Councillor Tudgate, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Greening and Councillor Thomas. And Pam Williams from SSDC, who is contributing to one of our agenda items today. And I've already noted the two members of the public and district councillor. So before we move into public participation, I just would like to remind those that wish to speak tonight that Wincanton Town Council is a corporate body. If you wish to, council will receive questions and comments from members of the public in accordance with our standing orders, which means that 3E, members of the public may make representations, answer questions and give evidence at a meeting which they're entitled to attend in respect of the business on the agenda. And 3H, in accordance with Standing Orders 3E, a question shall not require a response at the meeting, nor start a debate on the question. The chairman of the meeting may direct that a written or oral response to be given. I would like to also remind those that are participating tonight from public participation that during public participation, you must not verbally abuse, bully or harass a member of council. So moving into the formal part, prior to moving into the formal part of the agenda, I now wish to open it up to public participation, recognising this is no more than 20 minutes in total and 3 minutes per person. So is there a member of the public who wishes to speak? Mr. Ellard, would you like now to speak? 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think probably Dawn does as well, though of course you can't see her. But I will speak. In your last meeting, under the minutes, you said that my questions will be answered by council shortly. I wondered what your definition of shortly is, because you still haven't answered them. Secondly, at your last meeting, and as minuted, you discussed the election of replacement councillors for those who have stood down, and had an extensive conversation about the cost of that, implying that what a shame it was that that cost would be incurred by the public purse. I wondered if it had occurred to you at any time that the day on which such an election is likely to take place is also the same day as the county council elections, and it would be usual in those circumstances for there to be no charge to the town council in those circumstances. Perhaps you need to take that into account in the future. And then finally, you have today replied to the request for a town meeting which was sent to you at the end of August, I don't think your letter truly answers the question on the exam paper. The letter asked, my letter to you, signed by 9 other people, asked for, sorry, 5 other people, asked for you to hold a town meeting and asked for you to tell me when you had arranged that. Your letter doesn't discuss that at all. It doesn't actually say whether you intend to organise the meeting or not. So can I ask yes or no, do you intend to do so? And if you don't, do you please explain to myself and the rest of the town why you don't want to? Your letter does talk quite a lot about how much a meeting might cost and the fact that you would pay for it. I am at a loss to understand how a meeting would cost anything necessarily, particularly if it's organised via Zoom, as this meeting is. And my final question that relates to that is, are you actually trying to duck this issue and not hold a town meeting? Because if you are, could you please fess up to that?
Thank you for your comments. I now invite another member of the public to speak.
Sorry, there's another member of the public.
Hello. Oh, Liz, can I go first?
Yes, you go ahead.
Okay, so it's Dawn, for those that don't realise that. Quoting from the Good Counsellor's Guide, as a good counsellor, you will have a responsibility to attend meetings when summoned to do so. The notice to attend a council meeting is in law a summons because you have a duty to attend. I was wondering if somebody could please explain to me how being sat in the Bear is a good enough reason to not attend a meeting that they have a duty to attend as an elected member of the public. And secondly, to question how that person managed to propose the minutes when they weren't even at that meeting, and is that good practice? My next question I would like to ask is, where is the updated COVID risk assessments, and can they be published online for all to see, please?
Ms. Carter, I believe you want to speak.
Yes, I'm sorry I haven't been able to sign in as myself, but my own machine isn't working. And that actually brings me to one of my first points. I have 2 questions, Madam Chairman, and one is in fact for Councillor Smith, and the other was intended for Councillor Tudgay, but I see, oh yes, he is there. I apologise, you're moving around on my screen, so I'll be quick.
Can I just interrupt you, Ms. Carter? Questions are to council, not to members of the individual councillors on this meeting. So if you wish to speak to individual councillors, that's not open to you. Are you posing those questions to council?
No, I can pose them to the whole council, that's fine, but you might find for the specific answers that you might have to speak to those councillors then, that's fine. First of all, this one is then for yourself, Madam Chairman, and as I say, perhaps Councillor Smith can be the technical expert behind this. Councillor Smith and yourself were
right. Sorry, going back again, not naming individual councillors. This is a question for council. I've clearly stated it in the introduction to public participation tonight and the previous meeting.
Okay,
so if
sorry.
you wish to address council,
okay, whole council. Are you all aware that the chairman and accompanied by Councillor Smith, they broke into the filing cabinet in the town hall that contains all the personnel files, including emails, etc., etc. Now, within less than a week, several of residents and also previous councillors, we all had our emails hacked, our Facebook accounts are hacked, and we have had the result of the investigation onto one of our laptops, which showed a thing that a technical person will know, that's called a rule, that was rerouting information to an email address and not a USP, an ISP address, the Wincanton window. Now, we have never had any personal or business contacts with the Wincanton window. So I wondered, as you have, as Councillor Smith is as is the council's paid IT person, whether he might be able to explain how that happened, and also on what authority Did he change passwords in the office? And also, I have been back through all of the minutes, and I understand that Councillor Smith is now paid a fee, an annual fee of £60 for his work on the IT. I can see no minutes where this was agreed. So that's my first point. And then my next point for Councillor Tudgay, and I will go through yourself, Madam Chairman, but...
No, you will not name
Yes.
individual councillors.
Okay.
Ms Carter, you've been asked not to do that. And I would now ask
Okay,
you
to
to
the whole
stop.
council
I
then.
would ask you
To
to
the
put
whole
your
council.
questions in writing, Ms Carter,
To the
because
whole
your
council.
How
allegations
rude.
Okay, I
require
will...
further investigation. So
Please don't
please can you-
interrupt me. I am going to change my tack. I won't address this to Councillor Tudgay. This is, are you confident that you are managing the entire council's budget prudently when you have in the last 18 months, you have undertaken a huge borrowing to fund the skate park based on potential coming income? Now, as a whole council, are you beginning to allow for the fact that with the coming economic difficulties, a larger proportion of our residents may well be reliant on benefits
30
and
seconds.
support for their council tax? Therefore, your income is potentially going to be reduced because once people are on benefits, you do not receive as much. Are you planning ahead for a potentially massive drop in income when you have borrowed, I think, in excess of £100,000 against that potential income to pay for the skate park? You are potentially also going to have to spend money on legal fees, which we know you've already ring-fenced. You are already cutting funding to community groups. Have you, as an entire council,
Your time is now
account
completed,
your
Ms Carter.
responsibility for the budget?
Thank you very much. Your comments have been noted. I would now ask that you move to mute yourself, please, as public participation is now closed, and then unless there are other members of the public behind one of the screens. No. Public participation has now closed. If we now move on to the formal part of the agenda, please can I ask for any apologies for this meeting? I'm not aware of any. No, I'm not aware of any because we've got a full set, thank you. In terms of declarations of interest, which is point 2 on our agenda, please can I ask that members declare any interest that they may have in the agenda items that accord within requirements of the Council Code of Conduct. So looking through the agenda tonight, is there anything any individual would wish to raise at this time? No, thank you. Moving on to point 3, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. Colleagues would have received the minutes of the previous meeting. In terms of reviewing the minutes and any comments from those minutes, is there anything on page 1, 0030, page 2, 0031, page 3, 0032, and page 4, 0033, and 0034. Any comments or amendments? I would, if no other colleagues wish to make any amendments, I would like to add on page 0033, Live at Home is no longer called Live at Home. It's actually MHA Community South Somerset. Is that correct, Councillor Waters? Thank you. So can we record that that amendment is taken place? Are there any further amendments to this document? So firstly, for the amendments, can I ask for a proposer, please? Councillor Ralph, a seconder for the amendments, Councillor Greening, and a vote, please, supporting the change in the minutes. So those supporting for the change in the minutes, just the amendments, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Fagg, Councillor Waters and Councillor Shelbourne-Barry. Now we need to formally approve the minutes. So if, as the amendments have been agreed, can I ask for a proposer for the minutes, please? Councillor Fagg, and a seconder, please. Councillor Thomas, and can I have a vote for the minutes of the 28th of September 2020? So I'm going to start at the bottom of the screen. I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Fagg, Councillor Waters and Councillor Shelbourne-Barry. So I understand that to be unanimous. Is that correct, Locum Clerk? Thank you.
All right.
Moving into the rest of the agenda, if I may. So the next item on the agenda is planning, and that moves to Councillor Thomas. Can I invite Councillor Thomas, please, to the 2 items on the agenda?
Yeah. 2 items. Can you hear me okay? I've got very bad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Okay, good. First one is 20/02808/TPO, which is tree preservation order. It's a tree surgery on a tree at Blackthorn House, Locks Lane in Wincanton. There's no details of what the actual tree surgery involves. I'm assuming it's just making it safe, unless anybody else knows. There are no comments and no further details.
Right. Any comments from council on the tree preservation order? Tree surgery on the tree that's protected under a preservation order? No? So shall we individually propose that 20/02808 TPO is supported with no comments? So can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Tudgay, and can I have a seconder? Councillor Smith, and can I have a vote supporting that particular application as stated? So I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Fagg, Councillor Waters and Councillor Shelbourne-Barry. Thank you for that. Next item
is 20/02390/COU, application for change of use, 6A High Street, Wincanton. It's the former Sadler's next to Mike's Hardware, and it's conversion to A1 sui generis use tattoo studio. It's a listed building, but there are no proposed external or internal changes, and there are also no comments for or against.
Okay, thank you. Members of council, are there any comments or questions anyone would like to make? Councillor Ralph.
I'd just like to say that I really welcome the fact that there's a new business coming into the
Yes.
house, and they're very welcome, and I wish them luck.
Likewise.
Agreed. Thank you. So if there's no comments from council, and we've had no comments from residents to consider, then can I have a proposer for this application, please? Councillor Fagg, and the seconder, Councillor Power. And can I have a vote for, if you're for the application? So I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Fagg, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne-Barry. So I believe that's a full set. Thank you.
Yes.
Any further comments, Councillor Thomas?
That's it. Two applications, and that's it.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you, council, for your contribution for that agenda item. We're now moving on to checks, checklist review and approval. So councillors would have received the checklist. Are there any comments or questions in relation to the checklist? No? So if there are no comments or questions, can I ask for a proposer for the checklist, please? Councillor Waters, a seconder. Councillor Greening, and a vote for council if it's for the checklist. So starting from the bottom of my screen, I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne-Barry. I believe that's unanimous.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Locum Clerk and Council. Moving on to the next item on our agenda, it's Wincanton Regeneration Board, and I'd like to invite Pam Williams to speak. Welcome, Pam. Yes, Councillor Waters. I can't hear you, sorry. Have I missed something?
2 people to sign checks.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being switched on and picking me up on that. Thank you so much. So before I invite you to speak, Pam, can I have 2 people who are nominated as signatories at this time to sign checks tomorrow, preferably, or this week? So 2 individuals, please. I have Councillor Vagg and Councillor Waters. Thank you, Councillor Waters, for drawing my attention to that. I appreciate it. Right, now, if I may, moving on to point 6 on the agenda, Wincanton Regeneration Board. And I'm inviting Pam Williams to speak from South Somerset District Council. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you. I apologise for the fact that I'm not visible, but I do have awful problems with my internet at home, and I've found that audio only means that I'm audible, whereas if I do video as well, unfortunately I tend to be less audible or visual, so apologies for being slightly anonymous. It's quite a while since I came to a town council meeting. In fact, it's quite a while since any of us have been to town council meetings actually in person. And so I thought it was a good opportunity just to give you a bit of a progress update, since we've had the kind of mandate to run the Wincanton board for a whole year. And obviously we've been working quite hard in the background, and slowly work is going to become more sort of open and publicised. But at the start of the year, a number of priorities were identified from the work that had been undertaken in 2018 and 19 on the town strategy. And of those priorities, we've identified work to create a register of underused and vacant units, so that we understand who the owners are and we've got contacts and things like that. So that's one strand of the work. We also wanted to focus on the old health centre site, because I think that was generally viewed as a key site within the town centre to bring about reoccupancy. We wanted to start the process, which is quite a long process as I'm finding out, to commission the design proposals for public realm in the town centre, including looking at street lighting and wayfinding, looking at the potential to attract an anchor retailer to the town, and also to introduce an events and activities programme. Tonight I'm going to focus on 3 of those areas, the 2 that are proving a little bit more tricky to bring forward for different reasons. The first is the old health centre site, where the owners obviously looking at options, but also sensitive to the situation with regard to the COVID situation. And so we kind of want to work with owners wherever possible for them to bring forward solutions. So we'll be kind of watching and trying to engage the owner whilst doing sort of background work as well. The other area where we're not going to progress in the way that we perhaps anticipated at the start of the year is around attracting an anchor retailer to the town. And that's largely due to the situation with the economy, and again COVID related, because if we'd gone out to do that work as originally planned in early 2021, we probably wouldn't have got a very positive response. We may not get a positive response anyway, but I think we felt we would allow a bit of time just to kind of understand what the situation is during the course of next year, and then review the need for doing that work in 2022. So there are kind of things that are on a slightly slower track. Of the work which is very live at the moment, we're looking at public realm. From the town strategy, there were 4 sites that were identified for public realm improvements. There were also sitting alongside that the long held aspiration for brown signs, tourism signs from the A303, interpretation signage at welcome points, and sort of wayfinding, so finger posts within the town, and street lighting improvements, because if we are able to see in time an uplift in the evening economy, then obviously street lighting is an important part of that, certainly in the winter months. So in terms of progress, it's a very big piece of work to kind of do the design work for public realm, and we have to go out to procure that externally, and we start process in July, and we've just had tender submissions back at the end of September. We're at the point at the moment where we haven't offered the work, so I'll be a little bit cagey because it's a little bit commercially sensitive, but we're clarifying with some of the tenderers what some of the detail in their submissions, and we're on target to make an appointment later this month with a view to, well, probably be early next month, with a view to a prompt start there after. And what that prompt start will look like, it is quite an intensive programme of activity which involves consultation. It looks at the audits, the existing provision, and then develops design at outline stage, and then detailed design as well. We had approval for officers to go ahead and make the appointments that are necessary, and also we'll be buying in sort of legal advice, because there'll be legal agreements to allow us to work on the highway. So it's a big piece of work which will run until June next year, round about June next year. And some of the key points in that process will involve sort of public consultation. And one of the early things, which was a requirement of the Commission, was that there'd be an early, we've kind of described it as a stakeholder engagement event, but I'm thinking more broadly than just the board or the stakeholder group. I'd certainly hope that town council representatives and the Chamber of Commerce will be involved in that initial session, which we would hope to hold this side of Christmas, with a view to kind of raising awareness about the sorts of design solutions that might work. There are lots of approaches which we could see in Wincanton, also get a feel for what is the preferred approach in terms of actual street furniture and stuff. Are we looking for a really contemporary or a more traditional design approach? So that's the public realm. The other very active project at the moment is the property project, and the 2 elements to that. The first is developing the ownership register, and then we've also, in parallel with that, had somebody undertaking historic, frontage assessments of buildings, so that we can understand, first of all, the property register will help us to find out who owns some of those properties that we're not sure about. We've done land registry searches, and to try and identify those owners. There's ongoing dialogue with some of the owners in the town centre anyway. And what we'll hope to do by the end of this year is to have a framework agreed for a targeted programme of support for town centre premises, something that would sit alongside the retail support initiative, but kind of probably more, the retail support initiative supports frontages across the town. In fact, not just across this town, across other towns in the area east, but this would probably be more targeted to those buildings where there's a high level of need for intervention. So that's the property project. And the last one, I didn't have a time limit, so I hope I'm not
You're fine, Pam.
Okay. So the last one is the events and activities work that's been going on. So one of the strategy incentives was around increasing sort of the destinational appeal of the town and looking at coordinated marketing and you making sort of things happen in the town, and the approach that has been adopted in other places was very much, well, we can deliver, you know, a food fair or a street market as a district council. And I think the feeling is that's fine, but in reality, to have an enduring event, it's more likely that it's going to grow from what local people and local organisations feel will work in the town. And so the approach that was adopted was that proposals went to the board in April for a grant programme which centres around organisations and businesses, and that's kind of quite a unique thing because our other grant programmes for activities tend not to allow businesses to apply, but basically individual businesses or organisations can apply for up to 5,000. If there's 3 or more organisations and businesses working together, they can apply up to 10,000 to bring events into the town. And councillors and the board members were very keen to see events that were innovative and distinctive and not necessarily that kind of tick that classic thing of, oh, it's a farmer's market and this isn't supposed to happen. I'm going to mute myself for a minute. I've almost finished anyway, so I'm happy to listen to questions.
Thank you. So councillors, can I invite you to pose any questions to Pam Williams regarding the regeneration project or regeneration plan? Councillor Vagg. You're muted currently. Sorry, Councillor Vagg.
I don't know if it's too soon to ask, but are we allowed to ask if the owner of the Old Health Centre is actually prepared to talk to us?
Thank you, Councillor Vagg. Are there any other questions from council before I invite Pam Williams back to respond? No? Pam, are you able to comment, or is that in business sensitivity or business protected information?
Our position is, as I said, that we would prefer to talk and work with owners. There's a kind of approach that we can adopt, which at the far end of that spectrum is sort of something like compulsory purchase, but we would go through a process incrementally to try and engage the owner. I think it's fair to say prior to this year he had been engaging more readily than he has this year. So I think that we've also got to be sensitive to the COVID situation. And at this stage, it's quite difficult for me to say any more than other than that we will continue to work in the background, and I'll happily provide a report to you sort of later in the year, early next year, that's probably a little bit fuller.
Thank you, Pam. I appreciate that. And Councillor Vagg has acknowledged your comment. I don't know if you could see that. So in terms of this agenda item, as there's no further questions from council, we're closing that. So Pam, you're welcome to stay with us in our meeting, or if you wish to leave, that's entirely fine as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for inviting me along. I apologise for the phone ringing in the background. You couldn't write the script, but I will actually... I'll leave the meeting if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. That's great. Thank you very much. So moving on to point 7 on the agenda. Our last meeting, we had a discussion about insurance levels and review of assurance levels, and our clerk has prepared a paper outlining our assurance with different providers from 2009 to 2020, stating a 1.21% increase, which equates to £50.04 over that time period. I wondered, have councillors again reviewed any of the detail within, and if you have any further comments? If not, we could then move to either approve or not this item. So councillors, have you reviewed it and do you have any further comments? Councillor Tudgay.
Just one comment, Chair. I would like to see a schedule of what is actually insured, and to see if we've covered the new skate park and any other new equipment. That's my only concern. The skate park opened just at the very beginning of lockdown. It was a very difficult time, and it would have been quite possible that the schedule was not updated. That would be my only concern. And I think someone should check that the schedule is up to date. Other than that, I think it seems a relatively competitive quote, and I think we should accept it.
Okay, so how do you wish to proceed if there are no other comments from council, which I'm not seeing anyone else putting their hand up? Shall I pose this question to our deputy clerk tomorrow and bring it back to council? Because I don't think we need to. Yes, Councillor Tudgay.
Well, I think we should approve the actual signing of the cheque and the payment, because we don't want to get behind with it.
Okay.
That would put us, if we did not pay the insurance premium, then we could find ourselves in a spot of bother. But I think a quick check of the schedule would be in order, in my opinion.
Okay, well, the period of insurance is the 1st of November 2020, so we do have time. But however, your point is well made. So in that context, apart from gaining assurance, the schedule has been updated to include the skate park. Can I have a proposer for the insurance policy, please, for Town Council? A proposer, Councillor Ralph, and a seconder, Councillor Smith. And can I have a vote, please, from council if you're for supporting approval of the insurance policy, subject to the schedule, us confirming that the skate park has been included in the schedule. So I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Greening, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow for. And that's a full, I believe that's unanimous.
Unanimous.
Thank you. And I'll pose that question tomorrow. So thank you very much for that. Next item on the agenda is Kale Park. And this is just an item that's been put forward to reinstate. So Councillor Tudgay, would you like to introduce this item?
Yes, I mean, obviously subcommittees and working groups were stood down during the lockdown, and I feel it's time that we started to try and get back to a little bit of normality. And now that we can hold meetings by Zoom, I think it would be a good time to reinstate the Recreation Ground Working Party, to give it its correct title. And there are, a few things that we need to discuss and stay on top of. So I would like to propose that we reinstate that working party.
Thank you. Do I have any comments? If no comments, a seconder, please. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Power. Do I have a vote in support of reinstating the Kale Park, or whatever term you called it? Sorry, Councillor Tudgay. Councillor for, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow. Councillor Vagg, are you for or against? Councillor Vagg is for, so I believe that's unanimous. Is that correct, Locum Clerk? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can you, when you have a moment, share with council the date when those meetings will recommence, Councillor Tudgay? Thank you. The next item on the agenda, point 9, is the Annual Governance and Accountability Return, AGAR. This will be on our agenda till we've completed the process for 1920. I just felt that we'd give you an update, and actually included in correspondence, there is an email confirming what I'm just about to say. So in September, as a council, we requested an extension to AGAR to take us to the end of October. That extension has now been approved. Last time in our last meeting, we approved an internal auditor to undertake the first part of the AGAR process. And prior to that, we'd appointed a financial accountant to look at our financial position and also to ensure that the notes or comments in 1819 that the external auditor included have been investigated fully, which they now have, and they will then be included in the 1920 AGAR submission. So we are moving forward. We have a revised deadline to the end of October, and we are working to achieve that deadline. Council, do you have any further questions? No? So that was just to provide a verbal update. Thank you for that. If there's no questions, I will move on. Next item on the agenda is council representatives to committees, working groups and outside bodies. So colleagues on council are aware, and it's included in correspondence, which we will touch on in a few moments, that one of our councillors has sadly resigned or stood down from her position, which is sad for us as a council and sad for the town. However, as part of reviewing the list of committees and working groups, we now need to go through and complete the process we undertook last time to actually ensure that each of the meetings that Councillor Gazain was a member of is now covered with another councillor to ensure that we're quorate. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, in our last meeting discussing this exact item around committees and working groups, we had a discussion about extra ex officios, which myself and the Deputy Chair are normally part of, and I said that I would investigate to ensure that we can and continue to attend council meetings and working groups. Having checked that with the right governance authority, I can confirm that we can continue. So Councillor Tudgay and myself will be additionals to any of the committees and working groups that are designated on our website. So that is just to confirm what was looked at previously. So the first meeting on our list of committees is the Town Hall regeneration. So Councillor Gazain was in fact the chair of that meeting. So we need now to find an additional councillor to attend that meeting, but also we need to then vote who out of that committee would then chair that meeting. So can I have any proposers who wish to come forward to be a member of the Town Hall regeneration, noting that Councillor Vagg, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Greening and Councillor Tudgay are already members of that group. Is there another councillor who wishes to join? Councillor Thomas, thank you. So that means now we're quorate. We now need to identify a chair from that group. Are there any nominations for Councillor Thomas, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Greening or Councillor Tudgay for the Town Hall Regeneration Committee for chair? Would anyone like to put themselves forward or nominate a colleague? Councillor Tudgay, are you nominating yourself or are you nominating someone else?
Well, if no one else is willing to stand, Chair, I will sit in for the time being as chairman.
Thank you.
It's a committee that I personally feel should be split into two eventually. I think it's quite a big job. I would like to see one committee looking after the structure of the building, the fabric of the building, and another committee looking for at the future uses of the building, which was you know, as you probably are aware, the two jobs are one at the moment, but I think it's quite a big ask, and eventually I'd like to see them split that way. But I'm quite willing to sit in for the time being as chair.
Thank you. So can I have we have a proposer? Sorry, Ray has proposed himself. Councillor Tudgay. Nomination. Thank you for the right words. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Thomas, are you seconding Councillor Thomas is seconding. Councillor Tudgay is chair. Thank you very much for that. And can I also...
Chair, can I say I would like to see an actual proposer rather than myself proposing?
Okay. Can I have a proposer then? So Councillor Powers is proposing. Councillor Thomas seconded. Is that still the case? Thank you. And can I have a vote from council supporting the chairman of the Town Hall Regeneration Committee as Councillor Tudgay? So I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Smith, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne-Barry. I believe that's a full set. Yes. Unanimous. You are now chairman of the Town Hall Regeneration Committee, and Councillor Thomas has joined the committee. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. The next meeting we will be looking at is Friends of Wincanton Community Hospital. Are there any members of council who wish to step forward to take on that role? I'm happy to do that if council, no other councillor wishes to do so, being the link between the community hospital and the town council.
I'll propose you, Sue, then.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Ralph. So a proposal from Councillor Ralph, and Councillor Power is seconding. Thank you. And in terms of a vote supporting that, can I have a show of hands, please? Councillor Thomas for, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters, and Councillor Shelbourne-Barry. Thank you. I believe that's unanimous. Thank you. The next next appointment is Wincanton Chamber of Trade and Representatives. So actually we had one representative before, but I think this would be useful to have more than one because of the nature of the work and the very good joint work we undertake with the Chamber of Commerce. So are there any members of council who wish to become a representative? Councillor Power, are you putting yourself forward to be a representative? Thank you. Is there a second representative who wishes to join? If not, I'm quite happy to. Oh, we have, right. Is there a second representative who wishes to join the town Chamber of Trade meeting? Come on, you put your hands up. Councillor Greening, thank you. So are you putting yourself forward?
I am, yes.
So we have two representatives, Councillor Power and Councillor Greening. Do I have to take them individually, Locum Clerk, or can I vote both at the same time?
You can vote both at the same time.
Thank you. For expediency, it works for me. Councillor Tudgay, I'm
going to propose the two gentlemen for the position.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that position? Councillor Smith. And can I have a vote for Councillor Power and Councillor Greening? So I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Smith, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrett, and Councillor Vagg. Do you not wish to vote for each other? Or are you against?
I'm against myself.
Okay, we have one. Sorry. Locum Clerk.
Yeah, that's all right.
So we have one.
Well, you've got 8.
8.
8 out of 9. But you can have 8 out of 9 both ways.
Thank you. That works for me. If everyone's happy with that as an outcome. Thank you very much.
Right.
Okay, and moving on. I'm moving down the meetings from last time. And
sorry, Chair, can I just say?
Yes.
I'm having connectivity issues, so I keep losing you. So
all right.
If I disappear, but I've just done some changes, so hopefully I'll hang on in there.
Okay, if you disappear, I will record the time you left and hopefully you'll come back in without too much of an issue. Thank you for making us aware. The next meeting is Wincanton for the Future. We have 4 we need an additional representative on Wincanton for the future, which makes us 5 and Corat. Is there a member of council who wishes to step forward? We currently have myself, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Tudgay Smith as councillors attending. Is there another councillor who wishes to be nominated? Councillor Ralph, are you putting yourself forward for that role?
Yeah, I'm nominating myself.
Is there a proposer for Councillor Ralph and a seconder? So Councillor Smith has proposed, Councillor Vagg has seconded. Is that correct? Can you nod in agreement or not? And can I have a vote from the floor, please? If you're for, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters and Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow. So a full set. Right, the complaints panel. We also need an additional representative on the complaints panel. Can I ask that we currently have Councillor Ralph, Smith, Vagg and Waters. Can I ask for an additional representative from council to join that to make it Corat? I have Councillor Power. So would anyone like to propose Councillor Power to be a member of the complaint?
Yeah, Smith.
Sorry, Councillor Power, if you weren't proposing yourself, were you doing
No,
something?
I was, but
All right.
I'm on the other one. I'm on the appeals. Can I be on both or not?
There is no appeals panel currently, but you. No, but you can't be on both. No.
Oh.
Can I just check with the chair personnel? Is there an? That is correct.
There's no need to have an appeals panel at the moment, so one doesn't exist. In the event that we did have to form one, no one that is a member of the complaints panel will be able to be on that panel.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll forward then too.
Okay, so can I have a proposer for Councillor Power to join a complaints panel? I have Councillor Smith proposing. Can you nod correctly as you're on mute, please? Can I have a seconder, which is Councillor Tudgay, was that? Can you nod, or are you talking, Councillor Tudgay? We're not doing so well on taking ourselves off mute tonight, are we, councillors? It's a bit of a struggle. I don't know whether it's connectivity, but Councillor Tudgay, are you? Here
Ian has seconded it.
Yeah, it was me.
Oh, right, sorry, I didn't see that.
Don't worry,
So,
don't worry.
proposer Councillor Smith, seconder Councillor Thomas. Can I have a vote from the floor, please? For Councillor Power joining the complaints panel. So I have Councillor Thomas for, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow.
8.
Thank you. Moving on. Personnel, although Councillor Gazine was on that, you're still Corat personnel chair. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, it says a minimum of 5 members, so I'm happy that we're meeting our terms of reference on that one.
Thank you very much. So the final representative we're now looking for is a representative to attend the Regeneration Board. Councillor Gazine was the representative, supported by Councillor Vagg. We're now looking for a nomination from council to be the representative on the Regeneration Board. Can I ask for people who wish to nominate? Councillor Vagg?
Both Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow.
Thank you, Councillor Vagg. Does anyone else wish to put themselves forward, in which case we will go through the process? Yes, Councillor Greening.
I'll put myself forward for that.
Okay, so we have 2 nominations. One, myself, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Greening. Locum Clerk, how do we proceed with this?
Well, you've got the first proposal was Councillor Vagg was the first one. She proposed herself, did you?
No, she proposed me.
That's right. She proposed you, Sue. Yes. You take that one to its conclusion.
Okay.
And then you can vote for the other, and you can take it as the highest number of votes for either.
Right, here we go, guys. So can I have a proposer? Councillor Tudgay?
You need a secondary first,
Yes.
which I'm quite willing to do so.
Okay, Councillor Vag has proposed, Councillor Tudgay has seconded, myself. And then we move to a vote, is that correct, Local
Yes.
Clerk? So can I have a vote? I'm going to ask council to vote now. So those who are supportive of myself standing on the Regeneration Board as the representative from council. And am I correct in saying that I can vote myself, Councillor Locum Clark?
Yes.
So those in support of Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow being the representative, so those 4, I have Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Vag, Councillor Powers, Councillor Smith, Councillor Waters and Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow.
1, 5.
5.
Thomas and Greening didn't vote, correct? And Power.
Thomas and Greening didn't vote. Councillor Power, you voted, didn't you? Yes, Councillor Power.
Right.
So
That's 6, 7 votes.
I didn't vote either.
okay,
No.
so right, let's just confirm this again. So I have voting for Councillor Tudgay.
Yeah.
Councillor Smith. Did I see your hand up, Councillor Smith?
Yeah.
Councillor Power, Councillor Vag, Councillor Waters and Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow. I have 6, unless I'm counting completely.
I have 6. I have 6.
Okay, 6 out of 9. Is that correct? So in that context, do we then move to the next proposal?
Yes.
So we have a proposal from Councillor Greening to stand. Can I have a proposer, please? Is that you, Councillor Thomas? Yes, proposing. Can I have a seconder, please? For Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph. And can I have a vote, those for Councillor Greening? And it's only one vote, isn't it? Is it only one vote? So if you've already voted, you can't vote.
No, you can all vote again.
You can all vote again?
Everybody can vote, yes.
Okay, there's a vote.
Am I correct in understanding that there are only 2 spaces for this?
There's one space. There's only
one space.
We're making quite, I'm going to use the word, this is becoming a challenge.
Can we not simplify it? Can we just say all those in favour of Sue vote, all those in favour of Zach
No,
vote?
but we have to do the process. The process says there's a proposer and seconder for me with 6 votes. Now we've got a proposer and a seconder for you, and now council vote.
Right.
So those who are for Councillor Greening vote. We have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Ralph.
2. That's it.
Come on, Zach, vote for yourself.
And now,
So,
now we have to do against.
No, Sue takes it.
No, not against. It's
No,
just.
I couldn't bear it if everybody voted against me.
Well,
Chair, are we correct here in what we're doing? Because if everyone had 2 votes, then we could vote 2 people into one place. Are we definitely confident?
No, there's only one vote. There's only one vacancy.
Vote for each person.
The second vacancy, the second post isn't vacant, and that's Councillor Vag. For clarity purposes, Councillor Gazine has stepped down. The post we were electing to is one post. The second post is held by Councillor Vag, who's still in post and remains in post. That hasn't changed. So it's one vacancy, not 2.
One vacancy. Yeah.
Yes. So can you, Locum Clark, confirm the outcome of that?
Yes, Shelbourne-Barrow is the nominated person to join the committee. I hope everybody's happy.
Is everyone happy with that outcome? I'm sorry, Councillor Greening.
Gutted.
There'll be another chance for Greening to join something else, I'm sure.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there
Damn
will be.
you, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow.
Still on YouTube.
Yeah, we are on YouTube. Thank you for that, colleagues. And thank you for participating in the election of those committees and committees and working groups that currently had a vacancy have now been completed. So we now move on to the next agenda item, which is compliance with national policy and guidance. And this is just a verbal update. So on a regular basis, we will be coming back to council with an update on where we are with against national policy, particularly this in particular is to do with COVID-19 and the continual changes that are occurring with national policy and requirements to social distancing, and currently the 6 individuals that can be grouped together, and all the other policies that I don't know entirely what was said today around the 3 tiers, but anything that falls out of that we will look at in a future date. But currently, up until this week, today, I'm aware that as council, we're complying with all national policy to do with COVID and social distancing in relation to the skate park, in terms of our responsibility to put up signs. I will come to you, Councillor Power, to put up signs and meet our obligations as a council. So responding to Skate Park England and other commitments coming down through other recreational open spaces. So currently we're compliant. In terms of previously, we discussed about coming forward to undertake a risk assessment. We've reviewed that, and as a council, because we currently can't meet that risk assessment in terms of meetings taking place in person, is not able to do so around the group of 6. So consequently, that process hasn't been completed. However, and I think this is what Councillor Power will now talk about, we have some further discussions we need to have around compliance with national policy and what's within our gift as a council. So Councillor Power, would you like to now to speak?
Basically, so from going on from what the update you've just given us, do you think we should put that forward to Dawn Old's question that she gave in public participation? Because she did talk about a risk assessment, and I think giving her an answer for that might give us more of a better reputation of answering questions if we give her the update on that, along with the risk assessment.
Okay, well, we haven't undertaken a risk assessment, Councillor Power, because of the meeting around 6, and there's more than 6 of us, and we don't all live in the same house or in the same bubble, so therefore we don't comply with national policy currently. So as we don't comply, we haven't undertaken the risk assessment, haven't reviewed it. So we can say that we've looked at all of the national policy around our open spaces to look to comply to that. So I'm sure we do going forward, which we've done. However, meeting in person is not something we're able to do because of national policy. So we haven't completed the risk assessment because of the national policy that states there's too many of us to do so. So we will, as you've raised that now, Councillor Power, we are responding and have responded in numerous meetings to the questions raised in public participation, this being one, and we will provide a response to those in due course when it is the right time to do so. What I would like to bring up, though, is something that came out of a discussion we've had last time that Councillor Thomas brought to our attention around crime and antisocial behaviour and a comparison of that. And that directly links to a piece of work that we started to do as a council related to where large groupings of people meet in the town who do not comply to national policy. So what I'm first going to say is we as a council have no responsibility to do anything other than implement policy within our liability, which is to put up signs, make people aware through communication of the requirement to adhere to national policy. However, councillors will be aware, and it's actually in one of our correspondence today, we've been approached about one area in our recreational ground around the skate park, and compliance with national policy. The same point is still pertinent in the fact that we do comply as a council within the requirements of a council in terms of putting up the signs and communicating the requirement to implement social distancing through our website and through our website, sorry, and through communication out through town council meetings and with our engagement with local groups. However, I am aware through discussions with the police that there was a large number of individuals down at the skate park this weekend which did breach national policy. However, as I said at that time to the police, that we've done everything within our policies to adhere to national guidance and policy around social distancing, signs and so forth, and that it is not our role to police those areas, whether it be the Mugger, the skate park, the children's area or any other open space. It's down to personal responsibility and parents of children to take responsibility of their children in open spaces and when attending outside venues. However, that said, there is an opportunity here that we as a council need to consider, and that is what we do to support our young people. Some of them aren't so young, those that are residents within our town and young adults, around how their understanding of social distancing, but that's not a role for council. That is a specialist role for people who work with young people, who can actually work with them to get them to understand what that policy means and the implications of that. The only other bit I would say at this point is that if residents who are listening to this or wish to take this further, if you've got concerns, contacting 101, which is a police number for concerns to be raised, or going on Somerset and Avon's website, police website, and reporting incidents is the most appropriate way to deal with it, because it doesn't sit within the remit of council to do so. So I've just said a statement, lots of words in relation to we comply with our requirements. However, there are issues around large groups of individuals coming together, but I have to also say, for clarity purposes, that not all of those groups are residents. In fact, when asked by the police, they're actually from outside the town, which we have no influence on whatsoever. But I would welcome council's views on how we might then take this forward, bearing in mind what I've said in the last few moments. So I'm going to invite Councillor Ralph to speak.
I just wondered, are we engaging with the BEAT team and our community officers? Like, are we, having regular contact with them so we can share information?
Yes, good question. So in response to Councillor Ralph and to rest of council, myself and I know Councillor Power, who's our designated link between the police and the skate park, are having regular communication with the PCSO that has the BEAT. Today also I've been speaking with the manager of oversight for all of those roles within our town around how we might then as a council, working with other stakeholders, look to move forward in a positive way to actually make young people and young adults aware of their responsibility around national policy, but in a way that's not negative, is seen as a positive conversation. So yes, we are. Any other councillors wishing to contribute to this conversation or any other views in association with it? No? Okay. So in summary, we as a council are complying to national policy. We will undertake risk assessment as and when national policy allows us to meet to ensure that we can comply and protect our staff, our councillors and those residents who may wish to attend council meetings. However, we have working with the community to help our young people and residents and young adults aware of national policy and what that means to them. And that would include also the fines that go alongside breaching national policy. So what we would do is provide a further update in due course. So I'm going to now move on to 2 items on the agenda, which are just to receive and approve the Wincanton Town Council, the Wincanton Town Centre Regeneration Stakeholder Group Terms of Reference and the Wincanton Environmental and Ecological Working Group Terms of Reference. So can I ask Locum Clerk, can I take these together if councillors have no questions? So councillors, if there are no questions in relation to the terms of reference that have been through each of the stakeholder groups here, been through the stakeholder group and also through WEEP, I would like to ask for a proposer and a seconder, please. So firstly, are there any questions? If not, Councillor Ralph, are you proposing? You're proposing. And can I have a seconder, Councillor Tudgay? So I have a proposer, Councillor Ralph, a seconder, Councillor Tudgay, and those for both the terms of reference. Can I have a vote, please? So I have 4, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Smith, Councillor Power, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters and Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow. Locum Clerk, I believe that to be unanimous.
Unanimous. Aye.
Thank you. So we'll review those in a year's time in accordance with other terms of reference and policies. The next item on our agenda is Christmas trees. So we have had discussions previously about the market Christmas tree, and we're currently waiting confirmation of the installation date. However, we've previously had 3 smaller trees with lights on at the front of our office, community office in the town.
Sorry, Chair, I just want to be sure. There's one part of the agenda in section 12, which is a verbal report from the Chair of Wincanton for the Future State.
Oh God, yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, don't apologise, I just wanted to check.
Yeah, no, thank you. I do appreciate you making me aware. I'm clearly not firing on all cylinders tonight. So you are entirely correct. So we'll keep the excitement of the 3 Christmas trees for a few more moments. So a verbal report from the stakeholder group. I just wanted to make councillors aware that we held our recent meeting of the stakeholder group where we chose to not review 2 of the Good Stuff applications due to governance reviews, and that we would bring those back at a later date once both of those have gone through a formal process supported by councillors through a sponsorship approval process to then come back to the stakeholder group in due course. That's in accordance with the Good Stuff Fund terms of reference and the Good Stuff Fund expressions of interest application process. That said, we did have a really productive conversation about new projects. So the new projects we were looking at were diverse in nature, but they included the youth outreach model, which looked at, so we were already looking at the model before the conversations around what happened at the weekend at the skate park, around how we could support our young people with direct input from people who had the right skills to engage with our young people at the skate park and any other venue that we deemed appropriate to do so. So it was a beginning of a conversation on what that would look like. Again, working with police, but also working with the Bolson Centre and the Hythe Youth Project, also looking to include the fire brigade or the fire service so that we tied it all into one broader conversation. And then the next part of it was we also looked at another project around that's all written into the Year 1 Wincanton for the Future plan, which is about a community fridge and a community larder. and we discussed about its location, and one of our local businesses offered a location, but we need to explore that further to make sure it's what we would like, the right location for these items. But it's quite clear that we need to do something before we get into winter, and also under the banner of sustainability. It's one of our commitments for this year around reducing waste, but also using food before it goes into waste, but using it for those people who may well wish to use it for making meals or whatever it might be. So those 3 projects were discussed in quite some detail. And the final one we discussed was a town crier. So some of our residents have approached councillors and said that they'd really like to see a town crier in our town. And some of you may be aware, the town crier is a post that's held by council, but it's you're a public servant if you're a town crier, but you're unpaid. And you just receive a small honorarium to cover your stockings and shoes and such like. You know, it's really small, but it's just wear and tear, normal stuff, so they can do the job they wish to do. The other part of it was that we talked about how we'd raise money to cover the cost of the uniform. Sorry, not uniform, you're not allowed to call it uniform, regalia. Sorry, correct word is regalia. And alongside that, the museum has offered a bell, so the town crier would have a bell. So the costs of it are fairly low, and it just requires the individual, when and if appointed, to become a member of the town crier guild, which includes insurance. So if they hit someone with the bell accidentally, they're insured. And it's £30 a year, so it's quite a low cost for membership in that context and insurance. But it led to a broader conversation on the opportunities for a town crier in our town, and that it would be a very positive, unique selling point within the town. Not only births, marriages of the Queen and deaths and all sorts of different things, but also opening businesses and doing a raft of different things the individual may well choose to take on. But the exciting thing for council and residents is we will, if and when this is agreed through council, we will be holding a competition. So, oh yay, is all I'm going to say. And God Save the Queen is your final set of words you say at the end. So if you would like to be considered, if we get this through council with your job description, feel free, men and women alike, to come forward as part of the competition, because I think it will be an amazing spectacle to see, and we would have other town criers watching. So a very diverse and interesting set of projects that are under development that you will, as a town and as council, see in due course. So that's a not so brief, but quite exciting, quite diverse update from the stakeholder group. So thank you for reminding me, Councillor Ralph. That's the second thing I've missed tonight, so apologies. Right, if there's no questions about what I've just said, no, we'll move on then to the Christmas trees. The most exciting thing on the agenda tonight, not that anything paled, all of it is worthy of a place on our agenda, but the 3 Christmas trees outside the town council. So previously, we've agreed out of our 5K Christmas project pot to purchase a Christmas tree for the marketplace, which we're waiting for installation. We have a project that's working with the primary school, the Blue School, to actually make Christmas decorations on the tree on the entrance to Carrington Way. And then we still have a sum of money that's available for other spend in relation to Christmas. And the proposal is, as we've done previous years, to have 3 Christmas trees lit at the front of the town council. So what I'm asking council for is whether you would support us continuing with this year, 2020. So comments, questions? Right, so I've got 2 hands that have gone up that I'm unclear what your hands have gone up for, but Councillor Ralph.
I just wanted to say that, we've had to talk about a lot of very serious things in this meeting, and we're having to deal with a lot of very serious things in our day-to-day lives at the moment. And I think if we, you know, add some Christmas trees to the town and help celebrate, you know, something actually nice, then I'm really supportive of that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So you're proposing, are you, Councillor Ralph? Councillor Ralph's proposing. Can I have a seconder for the 3 Christmas trees, Councillor Vagg? And can I have a vote from council, please, if you're for the 3 Christmas trees, as stated in the documentation shared previously? So we have Councillor Thomas for, Councillor Greening, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Smith, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne, Councillor Power. You are for? Yes. Sorry, your hand went behind your head and I missed you. So
I haven't voted.
Pardon?
I'm not voting.
You're not voting, Councillor Smith. So you're voting against because we don't do abstain anymore. So yes. So let's go for it again, just for clarity purposes. Hands clearly in the front of screen, please. For 3 Christmas trees, I have Councillor Thomas, Councillor Ralph, Councillor Tudgate, Councillor Power, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Waters, Councillor Shelbourne Barrow. Is that a full set? Did I say Councillor Greening? Are you for?
I am, yes.
Thank you.
Can you add under duress on my behalf?
And against, I understand Councillor Greening is against. 2 hands against.
I think small lit Christmas trees growing out the top of buildings is in very poor taste. So on general principle, I am anti the 3 small Christmas trees.
Thank you.
We've always done it. We've always done it. So we just want to do it this time, haven't we?
What?
That's not an excuse, right?
Okay. Well, I'm going to say, so firstly, let's finish this process. Locum Clark, we have 8 for, no, 7 for, 1 against. No, 8 for, 1 against.
8 for, 1 against.
Thank you. God, I'm having a mare tonight. I just think I need to. Okay, so Councillor Smith, I would like to put a proposal forward for you to think about. We have a Christmas tree working group. I do not believe, Councillor Smith, you're on the Christmas tree working group. So can I ask that you consider joining the Christmas tree working group when we get to next year? So mid-year, we will revisit this conversation and council will openly welcome you to be part of that group.
I will consider it.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Appreciate it. Right, Locum Clark, can we move on, or have we done with that item?
Move on.
Thank you. Right, correspondence. Unless anyone's going to tell me I've missed anything, let's move into correspondence. So we have two amounts of correspondence tonight, one from tonight's meeting and one from the 28th. Bearing in mind we moved it back so because we overran by 15 minutes last time with approval from council.
Yes.
So let's start with those items that were the 28th and then move to those that are tonight, if I may ask you to do so. So the first one from the 28th was the Wincanton Town Council public notice or statement that went out from the Town Council and the councillors on the 15th of September. Just to note that, and I would like to also say that this is the first of many public statements that will go out from council in response to public participation, but also regular updates from council on what we're doing and the progress positive progress we're making as we move forward in this financial year and towards the next financial year. We've also, on the second one, there's an extract from an email from a Wincanton resident received on the 17th of the 9th, because as councillors will be aware, 2 weeks elapses between one council meeting and another, so there's often a time delay between things coming forward. And this talks about council might be interested to learn the Balsam Park numbers 19 to 37 have become a private road, following a breakdown in communication with the building stage between SSDC and the builder. So council, have you read this, and is there any comments from council that we need to then take forward as part of our new planning committee or other? Councillor Tudgay.
I think this is should be forwarded to SSDC if it has not already been forwarded. I mean, highways and rights of access don't really fall under our remit.
Thank you.
It's a little bit unfortunate this has happened around there. I don't really know what we as a town council can do other than support the residents and trying to get a resolution.
Thank you. I will ask that our Deputy Clerk shares this directly with SSDC Planning Committee or Planning Group, sorry. The next item that came...
Highways.
Highways.
Not
oh,
plan.
Sorry. I beg your pardon, highways. All right, highways.
That would in fact be county, not the SSDC, but it should,
Yes,
I think it should go to SSDC planning as well, because they've obviously got the, you know, they would have been involved in the granting the permission for the.
Yes. Okay.
It should go to both really.
So it will go to forwarded to SSDC planning and Somerset County Council highways. Thank you. Next item is dated the 22nd of the 9th, and it's theft of a motor vehicle. Just to note, and that obviously was reported to the police because there's a crime reference number. Any comments from council? If not, we're just noting. Thank you. And the final one from the 28th is in relation to Life for a Life Memorial Forest. Has council reviewed this and how would they like to proceed? Because the applications are currently open to the 12th of November and the second window to the 12th of January. Is there a particular group that this could sit with to look at in terms of climate emergency and bidding against 5,000 to 75,000 for innovative projects?
Surely it should go to WEEP.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
Nothing else is what I was saying.
Okay, I will ensure that it's taken forward to WEEP. We have there are two dates that applications could be seen against, and I think it might also be helpful to find out what other councils are doing in our locality. So Castle Kerry and Bruton, for example. Thank you. I will ensure that's done. So that closes the items from the 28th. Thank you for that. The next items are for tonight's meeting, have come forward for tonight's meeting, and there are 8 of those. So the first one is in relation to antisocial behaviour, received on the 24th of September. And this directly relates to council considering CCTV. So can I ask from council any comments you may have in relation to this item? Councillor Ralph?
Sorry, I'd just like to see a reply to this resident just to reassure them that, you know, much as we said earlier on, you know, you've been speaking to the beat officer and, you know, raising these issues with the right people in our community and that it hasn't gone unnoticed. Okay.
All right, thank you. I will ensure a response is given to the resident. Thank you for that. Oh, sorry, Councillor Vagg, I didn't see your hand go up.
People always seem to, particularly on social media, in this case in a letter, come up with the idea of CCTV. The only 2 incidents that I'm aware of where CCTV has been involved in the town haven't been of any use at all. There was one occasion when the lamppost was pushed into the Christmas tree. There was clear CCTV of the people that did it, but because it was only the back of them and we didn't see their faces, it couldn't be used. And the other occasion was when there was a car set fire to at the Memorial Hall car park, and there was CCTV there, but we were told that there was a tree in the way. So I do not think CCTV is the wondrous answer to everything. as well as being potentially a target for vandalism, plus the costs, etc., etc.
Thank you. Councillor Tudgay, I saw your hand go up, and then Councillor Thomas.
I would tend to agree with what Councillor Vaggis just said. I also think that when we reply to this gentleman and to other people who may be watching, that they should in fact write about these incidents of unsocial behaviour or antisocial behaviour, whatever you want to call it. They should write to Sue Mount-Stevens, who is our crime commissioner. And I think, you know, if more people complained to her and perhaps copy in the chief constable, then we might eventually get some more police officers on the beat here in Wincanton. And that's where I would start. And in fact, I think this council should also write to Mrs. Mount-Stevens and express our concerns. It's very difficult for the police that we have here. They're very low in numbers, and until such time as we get a much bigger police presence, I think things will continue the way they are. So that'd be my view. I certainly don't think CCTV is the answer, especially around the children's play areas, you know, or youngsters' play areas. I would be very anti doing that.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
Again, I think that CCTV is often seen as a sort of panacea for all this stuff. And I just think it's a knee-jerk reaction most of the time. I don't believe it does much good. But I don't, does this resident, is it Mr. Lewis, say where this occurred? Is it somewhere where it has happened before on many occasions, or is it just sort of random? Because if there's an area that is a constant target, then it's possible to do something about it. But if it's sort of widespread around the town, it makes it slightly harder.
It does say the skate park being the obvious choice at the moment. But I think sorry, Councillor Thomas.
No, go ahead.
I think from my perspective, I would 100% agree with Councillor Vagg and Councillor Tudgay that CCT is not the answer. In fact, that not only is it costly and doesn't provide what people believe it may provide, it's also taking us down a route in our town that I think is not the route we want to be seen to be going. I think there are other ways of working with the community, like the youth outreach that discussed previously, that would be a better solution, working with the police, the fire brigade and other stakeholders in the town who are trained in undertaking this level of engagement with communities and individuals and groups in communities, would be far better use of limited resources than CCTV. That would be my view. Are there any other comments? If not, I'll summarise what I believe I'll be requesting the Deputy Clerk to undertake. No? So what I've heard is Council to write to the Crime Commissioner and copy in the Chief Constable around how we move forward with the antisocial behaviour and what the opportunities are in terms of strengthening the police presence in the town, whatever that might look like. And also, I think, and I test this with you, maybe something about using a different type of outreach model from the police that's more youth-based or young adult-based, that again, trained individuals who work with those groups who actually will deliver more outcomes, I believe, than actually CCTV. We also said about responding to this member of the public around the work that we're currently looking to take forward around youth development and community development, and that as a council, what I've strongly heard, I know I said it, but other councillors have said it, we do not believe CCTV is the answer for our town, and we need to find new ways of engaging our population and those that are committing antisocial behaviour, so that we can actually change behaviour in an informed way rather than necessarily undertaking any other form of route which CCT would naturally take you through. Is that what we've said? We'll develop a response from council and also to the resident in question who contacted us. Yes? So Locum Clerk, do we need to vote on that, or is that just a statement?
No, it's just a statement.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, of course.
How is it when we put back the correspondence from the 28th meeting, but the date of receipt of one of them, the theft, was the 27th? But this one, the CCTV just now, is the 24th of September. How come that one didn't get into the list for the 28th? The 27th did get in, but the 24th didn't.
Well, it looks like one was a website contact, which the 24th was a website contact.
Yeah. Okay.
So it may have come in, the time difference may have been when our member of staff was accessing website comments. Yes. But I'll happily look into that, because that's a valid point, why there was a delay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It just maybe picked up.
Yes, thank you for that. Next item is what I've discussed previously around AGAR and the extension to the 27th of October 2020. If, due to investigation around AGAR and completing the 1819 and 1920 requires us to request a further extension, we will do so, following the most appropriate route that we have done previously, working with the external auditors. But currently our deadline that we're working to is the 27th of October. Any questions from council? That's just a note. Thank you. Right, next item that's come through correspondence is from South Somerset District Council in relation to Section 106, Town and County Planning Act 1990, and a development within the town and dwellings within. So this is just, can I actually, what I'm going to do is ask that other councillors who were involved at the time this was approved to actually speak if there's any comments in relation to it. But far as I'm aware, this is just about noting the costs and processes and if we have any comments associated with it. Councillor Ralph.
I obviously wasn't involved before, but yes. I just wanted to say that though I have no choice but to accept the details of the report and the fact that what it says is true, I think it's extremely disappointing that the social housing aspect of this project is going to get removed. And I think that is sad for our town.
Yes.
But it does state, though it's not clear towards the end, that there may be an alternative that we can pursue, or not, maybe not we can pursue, but the South Somerset District Council can pursue. And I would like to be clearer about what that is, because I don't think all hope is lost yet.
So this is in relation to the 34 unit scheme at land south of Bayford Hill, Wincanton. So other councillors, I agree with what you've said, Councillor Ralph, we should note that. Is there any, Councillor Tudgay, you've taken yourself off mute, so I'm inviting you to speak.
I would have thought that this would have to come through planning anyway before they've sort of sent almost like a pre-app. I would have thought that this would have to come through planning proper yet. I totally agree with Councillor Rolfe. Having read the district valuer's report, I think we're on a very sticky wicket as to whether we can get anything done. And that really is it. I think, you know, it will go to SSDC for decision, and I would be very surprised if they did not nod it through. I say it is unfortunate that the social housing aspect is taken out of that scheme. I think that possibly in the, you know, it would have been better if they'd put some starter homes or something of that nature in, rather than the social housing in the first place. But this is just how it is.
Okay, so how would
Just sorry, Chair. Can I just say,
Yes.
there is one other thing this raises, and it's not really a discussion for tonight, but in the longer term, it lays out the Section 106 monies that's due to the town, and I feel that a lot of this is lost and lost to Yeovil, and we should really make more effort to make sure that we get what is due to us, that actually comes to Wincanton, because it lays out quite clearly in this document what the 106 money will come from that development, and it would be very nice if we could get all of our share for once.
Yes. So there's two comments currently that we're proposing. One is to state our disappointment at the reduction in dwellings that removed the social housing aspect. And the second one is an action in its own right, which is to request from South Somerset District Council all of the Section 106 undertakings that are designated for Wincanton, and within the 5-year period that the Section 106s relate to, where we are within that period and the costs associated with it and what that's actually going to purchase or been proposed against, because there's always some flexibility around 106. If you have a different use, you can actually approach them and do something different within the boundaries of the agreement. So are there any other comments? So we've got a sadness about the reduction. Yes, Councillor Ralph.
Sorry, just to be clear, it definitely talks about towards the end, it is a long document, I know, but it definitely talks about an alternative fund that could be pursued and then work with a social housing, a company, organisation where things could be funded from elsewhere and it would remain within the project. So I just wonder if we could, if in subcommittee is meeting, if that's something we could refer to them just to follow up, just to be sure.
Yes. I'm just looking for that bit because I didn't see it first time round when I reviewed it.
No, I didn't see it. Whereabouts is that?
Sorry, I don't have it in front of me, which is terrible.
That's okay.
It's definitely in there. It's definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely in there. They talk about approaching a housing association and see if they could get them to take on the social housing aspect of that.
Okay, so the items we're actually going to go back with comments on are the sadness in the reduction of social housing, and in relation to just this, and further information on any other opportunities around social housing from housing providers. And on a separate note, an action to request from South Somerset District Council all of the Section 106 monies identified, where it is within the 5-year span for those monies and what it relates to, so we can ensure as a council we are better sighted on what we're entitled to. Councillor Vagg.
This it might be for Ray, I think he'll remember, but Section 106 was having its name changed to a community infrastructure levy. Yes. Are we still just using Section 106 because it's easier to remember? Do we mean the CIL?
No, applications that were made before the introduction of CIL will still come under the old scheme,
right,
as I understand it. And then if it was a new application went in tomorrow, that would come under community infrastructure levy. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Wasn't sure.
Okay, so going back to what I previously said, our comment is sadness around the removal of social housing. However, requesting further information on the opportunities available for social housing within housing providers, housing associations, sorry, that's the word, associations. Yes, Councillor Power.
What housing associations have we got actually that's building within the town? Is it Yarlington? Is that one of them?
I don't know if I would be able to respond to that, but it's not just those within the town, it's actually those that actually are prepared to build within Somerset and then within the town? Councillor Tudgay.
There are 3, I believe, who normally operate in this area. One is Yarlington, obviously. The other one is, no, I've completely forgotten. Not Stonewater. Is it Stonewater? And there's a third one. I can't remember now. It's gone completely.
Stonewall or something. And
yeah,
there's a third one that recently changed its name.
Yes, that's the problem. They keep changing their name. But there are 3 social housing providers that normally operate in this area. But as the chair said, that there may well be others that might want to come in. I personally don't think so, but you never know, do you?
No, you don't. So in terms of the 2 points, are you, do we need now locum clerk to do a proposer and seconder, or do we just note them as actions?
I just note them as actions for your clerk, deputy clerk.
Thank you. I'll pick that up with the deputy clerk tomorrow. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Next item on the agenda, it's 20:45, so we've got 15 minutes before close of the meeting, unless we choose to extend. Is an email in relation to a potential solar farm at Brains Farm beside Moor Lane. So this has come through this route, a 10K location plan. So council, have you read it? Because I looked through it and I'm not really sure why it's come to council in this route rather than coming through another route. Any comments?
Not really.
Councillor Tudgay.
Well, again, it's a bit of a pre-app, isn't it? And it will come back through the planning process. They really want information and sort of prior approval. I found the map that they sent with it very hard to understand.
Yes.
If it's going to be the whole piece that's outlined in red on that plan, then it's going to be a huge solar.
It's massive, yeah.
And that would have quite a visual impact on this town, especially from sort of the Bayford Hill area. Anybody looking down onto that site, it would have a large impact on the town. So I think we need to. The gentleman has said he's willing to join a meeting, so I think we need to contact him and ask some questions before we make any decisions.
Do you
Not
want
sure
to...
whether Ian would agree or not, I don't know.
Okay, Councillor Thomas.
Yeah.
So
I can get in touch.
Are we saying we'll invite him to a planning committee? Are we saying we'll invite him to a planning committee or to full council?
Yeah.
Which one? Planning committee or full council?
Well, I thought planning committee.
Okay.
I think planning committee initially.
Yeah.
Okay. I will ask the deputy to get in contact with you, Councillor Thomas, and arrange that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about connectivity. I can see some of you are struggling because the pictures are very not consistent, which implies connectivity is poor. So please shout if you need anything further clarified. The next item is to do with 1 Somerset, which is item 5 on the correspondence that council have received tonight. And this is inviting us to join a virtual meeting with Somerset County Council and the 1 Somerset team. And the dates available are on the far end of the actual letter from Councillor Fothergill. So can I ask, rather, if you're interested in attending, can you make the deputy clerk aware? I would like to attend one of these, but I believe it's open to all of us to attend. They're open sessions to hear more about 1 Somerset and the plans for 2023. Is that okay? So choose the one if you wish to attend and make the deputy clerk aware, and she can then organise you to attend. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is number 6, and that relates to One Planet and a letter for grants awarded from Wincanton, the Wincanton for the Future Fund, which is a Good Stuff Fund. And the bit that I want to draw councillors' attention to is because of COVID, The repair cafe is unable to start when it planned to in October, so the date has been moved forward to accommodate current policy because of the restrictions around being able to operate in a closed environment. So that's just to make council aware. Are there any comments? No? Next one is another one from South Somerset District Council in relation to the White Horse Hotel for the High Street. And I believe this is not dissimilar to what's gone before, just making us aware of potential planning application that will be coming in. Is there any comments from council? It says we can respond within 14 days, and it came in on the 6th of October, so it's already it came in on the 6th and it's the 12th now. If there's no comments, what I would suggest is we wait for Councillor Vagg.
They're going to go ahead, and this is only a preamble to a possible development, and being realistic, and I think quite a few of the people here today actually went on a tour inside the old White Horse and saw what kind of a state it was in, and I personally would doubt that anybody could turn it back into a going pub. And if I would like, what I would like to see is, if they go ahead with it, is to do a facade retention.
I think they have. It's listed anyway. It's quite heavily listed as well.
Yeah.
It's it's our famous architect of the town, isn't it, that designed it, if I remember rightly. So what council is saying is we'll wait till it formally comes through at this time. Do we need to vote on that or just acknowledge it? Councillor Tudgay.
I would just like to add the comment that whilst I agree with what Councillor Vagg said, I do think it's a little bit of an overdevelopment. It's quite high in numbers there, the number of dwellings they want to put, and especially the ones they want to erect behind the actual building in the car park area. I think it's too many properties, too many dwellings, and that would be my objection.
Can I ask, there is a planning committee coming up, isn't there?
Yeah,
on the 21st. Yes, can I ask that you look at this within there?
Yeah.
And then it may well then fall outside of the 14 days, but you, as a council, it's only the pre-application stage. So can you look at it just to see if there's any particular views you wish to put forward?
Will do.
Because it's only comments. Okay, thank you. And
sorry, can I just add that planning committee, when you look at it, I know you will anyway, I'm sure, but obviously with the density of what's being proposed, I think we need to look carefully at parking and I think what concerns me.
I haven't looked at the actual plans yet, but when they say dwellings, 6 dwellings on the back car park area. I mean, they could be tiny, weeny dwellings, but either way, I can't see there'd be that much space for parking, but 14 flats is going to be probably at least 10 cars that we have to park somewhere, plus the 6 dwellings at the back. So it is would be a bit of an issue, I suppose.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, you wish to speak?
Yeah. I seem to remember the last time we were looking at the application from, I presume it's not the same people from the sounds of it, but they wanted to do considerably less and they were resisted quite heavily. I think they started off wanting to build a couple of cottages or something, wasn't it? And then they downscaled to just a temporary pizza restaurant. And a lot of the argument against it was about the singular narrow access to the rear, and rubbish and parking and all kinds of stuff. So
I think the whole white paper thing about conversion from commercial to residential or part residential on the high street is quite a powerful thing now, and I think it'd be quite hard to resist this entirely. It might, or even at all, maybe, I don't know.
Okay. Can I then ask, we have a planning committee. We have established now. All councillors are welcome to attend. So if you wish to attend, then please do so. And I think at that point we'll move on, and just note that this is being taken to the planning committee for further review. Thank you. The last item at 54 minutes to 9 is the resignation letter from Councillor Gazain. It is with great sadness that I report this today, because Elaine has been a very positive, influential councillor within our council, representing us on the regeneration board, but also across various work streams. And it's with great sadness that Elaine has chosen to step down as her role as a councillor. And I would like, as we've done with previous councillors, to acknowledge her service to the council and to the town in this meeting, and going forward to recognise that this role, along with the resignations of the block resignations of councillors previously, will be taken to election in May, which, as we all know, will include the crime commissioner, but I don't now believe it will include the county council because of One Somerset. And if that is the case, our costs associated with that will increase. So within Precept, we will ensure that sufficient money is protected within Precept to fund that election process next year, at the earliest the 6th of May. But again, I would reiterate a great sense of thanks to Elaine Gazain, who has stood in the council for some years. So thank you for that. It's now 56 minutes to. We're now on the final part of the agenda. And I just wanted to very succinctly run through any items that councillors wish to include on the agenda for next time. So are there any items councillors wish to include? No? So the items that I have are AGAR, which will be a standard item going forward until we complete the 1920. Yes, Councillor Power.
I know that County Council are doing one, and I think District are as well, but I think maybe we create our own lockdown plan. I know that we've already got one, but to adapt to it, because I think that with the way that everything's going up north, I think we just have to prepare and just make sure our residents are well catered for. So
okay.
Maybe we could get together and talk about.
Can I ask that that goes as an agenda item for the next meeting, because we're 57 minutes to. So a lockdown plan that's appropriate for a town council, not the broader requirements that a district or county council or NHS would actually put forward. Yes. So the other items, unless this, is that okay, Councillor Power?
Yeah, it's fine.
The other items, as I've said, AGAR, finance report, because we'll be holding our first finance meeting on the 26th of October. Following that, monthly thereafter, we will be having regular financial reports. Planning committee terms of reference to come to council. A community development working group to be prepared to come to council, that links to the discussions we had around antisocial behaviour, but also links to engagement with the wider public sector and stakeholders in the town. And the final item is Precept and preparation for a 3-year budget that includes changes to tax that we're envisaging will happen, with tax reductions in the coming years being posed that we'll need to take into account. Very clear identification of earmarked reserves, general reserves, and great detail in terms of each of the service lines broken down so that councillors will have access to that information in due course, so that we can look at that in great detail following in the finance committee, but also subsequently as we move forward to Precept. And it is with some, we have interesting times ahead of us, both as a country as a county and as a council. And I think preparing for precept and preparing for what that would look like for our residents is going to be key moving forward. So if there are any other items, please make the Deputy Clerk aware, and that will go into the draft agenda shared with myself and Councillor Tudgay before going to Council. If not, I'd like to thank you for attending tonight and your contributions, and I look forward to seeing you in one of our further full councils or a committee in due course. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Richard.